We're going to get back in with Exodus 34th chapter.
Who didn't get measured yet for this?
Anybody that is interested in getting Passover garments and have not been measured yet? Yeah, Roberta, you didn't get measured yet? Okay. All right. You have one.
Mr. Hunt, I was able to speak to brother Devon. Yeah, he said he's still interested. I don't know, I'm not actually sure if he's in measuring yet, but he said he still wanted to purchase. All
right, you wanna we're gonna go back in, but you want to step outside and give him a call, see if he can come over.
Okay.
Or if there's a brother here that he's willing to take the same measurement as, then that could work, because they're not all going to be tailor-made to your specific measurements. I doubt that very much. I think it's going to be averages made, and then everybody that fits in the average is going to wear that garment. So each one.
I mean, that's what you just said. I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
You gonna do that for real? That's very rare. I mean, it
might not be for the close.
Be close, yeah. Yeah, all right. That would be a lot of work. All right, so we're going to pick it up. Exodus 34, verse 1.
The book of Exodus. The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 1. And the Most High said unto Moses, use thee 2 tables of stone, like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest. Verse 2. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount. Verse 3. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount. Verse 4. And he hewed 2 tables of stone, like unto the first. And Moses was up early in the morning, and went up unto Mount Sinai, as the Most High had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone. Verse 5. And the Most High descended in the cloud, and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name of the Most High. Verse 6. And the Most High passed by before him, and proclaimed, the Most High power, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. Verse 7. Giving mercy to thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, unto the 3rd and unto the 4th generation. Verse 8. And Moses made haste and bowed his head toward the earth and worshipped. Verse 9. And he said, if now I have found grace in thy sight, O Most High, let my power, I pray thee, go among us. For it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thine inheritance.
Right, so he just given a plea of repentance and forgiveness, and beseeching the Most High of his forgiveness. And in beseeching Heavenly Father, even when you pray, you always got to remember to glorify his name. Glorify him. Let him know you know who you're talking to. All right? You can't just be like, God help me, right? It doesn't work that way. You have to go to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who's the creator of all that we know and see and hear and understand, the creator, the omnipotent one, the one that is glorious above all the names that are in heaven. That is who you beseech him. You have to know who you beseech him and make it be known to Yahweh that you recognize who you are coming before. So when you become before him, that your words are filled with the glory and the majesty that the Most High is. Everybody understand that? That's why I said we got to prepare ourselves before we pray. You got to think about what you're going to say before you say it. Get your words together. Now, you might get into the prayer and different words might come and take over the prayer. That's okay. But at least you came with prepared to give all majesty to the Most High Yahweh. All right? And the humbling of thyself before his name. Everybody understand that? Read.
Verse 10. And he said, Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels, such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall shall see the work of the Most High. For it is terrible, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee.
Right.
Verse 11. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite.
Right. All these families are families of what? The Hamitic nations. Now, to this day, our people are trying to assimilate themselves to Hamitic nations. Right? And these are the ones that the Most High drove out. Okay? So understand that there's no more glorious heritage than the heritage that you already belong to. You are the Hebrew Israelites, right? You're not Egyptian, you're not African, you're not Ethiopian, you're not even from Wakanda, right? All that's not your heritage. All right. There's no greater heritage on the earth than the heritage of the Israelite. Okay, descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Nobody on the earth can say that the Most High fed them with manna. You know what I mean? No one on the earth can say that the Most High opened up the waters and they walked through dry land and closed the waters up behind them. No one can make these proclamations but the children of Israel. Right? So understand that your heritage is more glorious and great as the greatest badge you can wear. So you wear your heritage proudly. If somebody says, well, where are you from? Say, I'm an Israelite. Don't hold it back. Don't say, I'm an Israelite. What is that? You proclaim your heritage, right? Because the Most High gave you your heritage. All right? You ask somebody from some of these places, ask them their heritage and ask them what does that mean. They can't tell you what it means. Most people call themselves, what they call them, Scottish or Polish or English or American. And you ask them, what does that word mean? They'll be lost. You know what your word, you know what your heritage means. When you say you're an Israelite, you say that means I'm family, a descendant of the man Israel, right? And his name was called Jacob, and his father was Isaac, and his father was Abraham, and that's the lineage I belong to. You know who you are, right? And Yahshua meaning the Prince of Power, right? You know who you are. You have your heritage. We no longer discontinued from our heritage. That was for a time, right? But we keep being, you learn this truth, you gotta give up being black, give up being Negroes, give up being all these things, give up being African American, right? Give up all them labels that was given to you by your oppressor. Come back to your true heritage, the knowledge of who you are, right? What you got, man?
Isaiah 43, verse 1.
43?
Yeah, verse 1.
Yeah, let's get there. Isaiah 43, verse 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 43 and verse 1. But now, thus saith the Most High, that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel.
Right.
Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine.
That's right, thou art mine. Give me 44 and 1 also.
Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 1.
Right.
Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant,
right,
and Israel, whom I have chosen.
Right. So I mean, come on, Israel, I'm the chosen one. And they had a movie called The Golden Child back in the days. Right? But you are the chosen ones. I am of the chosen ones. Okay. Chosen to do what? Serve the Most High in his rightful manner. All right. So serve him in truth. Okay. That was given unto you to do this thing. All right, read.
Verse 2.
No, drop that. Go back to that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 2. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land.
Right. So he said, take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. What is a covenant? An agreement. So what is the Most High telling them to do there? Not to make any agreements with the inhabitants of the land. Okay? Don't make no covenants. All right? Hold that and give me Deuteronomy 7:1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1. When the Most High thy power shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, and have the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Most High thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them.
Right.
Thou shalt smite them.
Come on.
And utterly destroy them.
Right.
Thou shalt make no covenant with them.
How many covenants?
No covenant with them.
No covenants. No pacts, no plans, no agreements with them. Read on.
Nor shew mercy unto them.
Right.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Right. Don't marry them.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
Right.
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me.
And that's the main focus, man. The main focus is following and serving Yahweh. Do nothing that's going to make you, that's going to come in the way of you serving the Most High Yahweh. If it's gonna break your bond with the Most High, don't get involved. So don't make any covenants with them, because that's what's going to prevent you from what? From being solely dedicated to the Most High Yahweh. Because now what? These nations don't have the spirit to serve Yahweh. So you got the spirit to serve Yahweh. Now you join to somebody that doesn't have the spirit to serve Yahweh. How that's going to work? Right? It's going to become to a point where you have to make a decision and choose one and not the other. Right? So this is why the Most High says, listen, don't deal with these other nations that way. Okay? Only with Israel. Okay?
All right.
Also give me 2 Corinthians 6.
The book of 2 Corinthians.
16. 16.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6 and verse 6 and verse 16. And what agreement have the temple of the Most High with idols?
Right. So now we understand that who's the temple of the Most High now? Where's the temple of the Most High now? We are. Right? So now, if you're the temple of the Most High, right, what agreement have the temple of the Most High with idols, false gods? There's none. There's no, you can't put one with the other. There's no agreement. Right? Read on.
For ye are the temple of the living power.
Because you are the temple of the living power. Read on.
As the Most High hath said, I will dwell in them,
right,
and walk in them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people.
Right. So we have a responsibility to keep the temple holy. Keep it set apart. What temple? Yourselves. Keep yourselves set apart. Make no agreement or anything with these nations. Now, I'm not saying that we don't work with these nations in our different industries, because we went on to Caesar, what's for Caesar. But we talking about when we dealing with spiritual things, things of righteousness, things of your family, things of your home, things of your heritage. They don't have nothing to do with that. Okay? You got to do business in this world, you got to do business in this world. Everybody know the money, the picture's on the money, who the money belongs to. Right? In case you didn't know. Right? It's not yours. It might be in your pocket now, but it ain't yours. Right? It's a lent to you. called a promissory note, right? That's what your money is, right? It's a note from your oppressor saying you're allowed to get a couple things that's worth this piece of paper that I put in your pocket. Other than that, you're going to give it right back to me. That's what it is. You give it to you and you give it back to him. And that's the relationship you have with the money. He give you something, you give it right back to him. That's all right. Because we don't get what we need, and we're not dependent on that.
That's right.
We know our blessings come from the Most High Yahweh. And we don't mix the two, right? We don't mix the two, right? He said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. All these scriptures are there to our understanding that, listen, there's certain things we got to deal with in this world, and there's certain things that's of the Most High that this world has no business being involved in. Okay? So let us do the work of the Father. All right? Let us do the blessed work of the Father without any apologies, without changing the word of the Most High, without changing what the words say, because we're trying to adhere to these other nations. Forget it. Right? You give the Most High word pure. That's why he didn't want us to make any covenant with the Hittites, the parasites. Because if we make covenant with them, then we have to what? Cater to them. Right? Same thing that Solomon did. He took those wives of the other nations. He had to what? They're your wife. You got to cater to, which caused him to go astray. Right? We don't want to be caused to go astray. So let's stay on the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Let's get back to Exodus 34.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 40. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee.
That's right, be a trap in the midst of you. Your intentions might be good. You might just want to be peaceful with all men, right? But that becomes a snare and a trap on you. So you got to be careful, all right? Not always obvious, though. The problem is not always obvious. That's why in our obedience, we're able to be more righteous than we even understand. If we just follow sometimes just because the scriptures say it, later on we'll determine and understand why the Most High said that. And when that comes to you, you'll be like, wow, now I understand why the Most High said that. Right? But when we be rebellious, then what happens? Then we got to suffer. Right? And then find out. That's like learning the lesson the hard way. We got to learn the easy way. The easy way is just listening, hearkening. Right? Trust in the Most High. Once you trust him, you follow his way. You don't got to learn certain things the hard way. All right, read on.
Verse 13. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves.
Their groves.
Their groves.
Right. Destroy their altars, cut their images, and their groves. Groves where they make these areas to worship their false gods. Right. If you go down Miami, there's an area called Coconut Grove. You might ever go to that? All right. Now you see, if you go deep into the streets of Coconut Grove, you see that the plants are made that they actually cover the streets. Right. Those are what we call groves. So they used to make these areas where they felt they were being like secret, like nobody see me kind of area. You know what I mean? Where they could be silent and sneak and do their little wickedness. That's what they call the groves. So what? We had to cut down all those groves where they used to go hide and do their wickedness, right? And break down all their false altars, where they everything they erected to these false gods. All right, we had to get rid of all that in the land just for us to be thinking clearly on our power. It's hard to concentrate on the Most High Yahweh when you got all these false images around you constantly, right? So the Most High said you got to take away all those things, and only where that is of Yahweh. Okay, read.
Verse 14. For thou shalt worship no other power,
right?
For the Most High, whose name is jealous, is a jealous power. Verse 15.
Right. So you don't want to deal with jealousy. Jealousy ain't no joke. Right? The scripture says jealousy is a wrath of a man. Right? When people get jealousy, they get angry. Right? So you don't want to get the Most High angry through jealousy.
His name is jealous.
His name itself is jealous. Right? Read on.
Verse 15. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto the gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. Verse 16.
Right, so what? That's what's going to end up happening. That's what he's saying. They might say, nah, I'm not going to mess with their gods. Their gods is their gods, and I'm Yahweh, and you with them, and that's all right. Moses said, you keep that around you, watch. The scriptures tell us that what? the wicked seduce the righteous. It don't say that for no reason. Okay? It says that because it happens. Just when you thought you was mighty, that's why we pray the Most High to lead us not into what? Temptation. Right? But do what? If the Most High don't lead you into temptation, you ain't got to worry about the evil. But you don't go into the temptation, guess what's going to happen? Eventually. May not happen the first day. May not happen the second day. Let the time pass. Next thing you know, oh man, you done fell. Before you realize that they're wrapped up in all kind of wickedness. And this was never your intention. So we got to make sure we follow him and we understand what's going on. Yeah, read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
Right, according to the Most High, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. So no, everybody is not equal. Because the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. If you're righteous and your neighbor is wicked, the Most High with you and he's not with your neighbor. Right, read on.
But the way of the wicked,
but that neighbor, read on,
seduceth him,
will seduce that righteous man into his wickedness. Ain't that something? Most High said it for a reason. It's said because it's true. So we gotta be mindful of this. Okay, that we don't be seduced, that we don't give any wickedness our attention, our regard. Right? That we totally move, and we can't totally isolate ourselves because we live in this wicked world. But what? We remove those thoughts from our minds. Okay, and we don't give them regard. We don't give them no respect. Because as soon as you give them a little respect, next you know it creep into your own spirit. All right, read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 16. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons.
All right.
And their daughters go a whoring after the gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. Verse 17. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods. Verse 18, the feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep.
That's right. You're going to keep the feast of unleavened bread. You ain't going to make molten gods. So why you mention the feast of unleavened bread here? Because why? When you unleaven the bread, when you take that leaven from the bread, what does that leaven represent? That's right. It represents sin. All right. Give me that real quick. Give me Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 5 and 9. 2 Corinthians 5 and 9. Right?
Book of 2 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 5 and 9?
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 9. Verse 7. So, purge out.
You can start with 7.
Yeah. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5 and verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven,
right, that
ye may be a new lump.
Come on.
As you are unleavened. For even Hamashiach, our Passover,
right,
is sacrificed for us.
Right. So what? That the reason why he mentioned the unleavened bread is that leaven is representative of what? Sin. And you purging that out. When you do during that feast of unleavened bread, that leaven, that sin is being purged out of your life, out of your mind, out of your spirit, out of your members. Okay. So as we're coming close to the Passover, when is Passover again? Okay, March 30th at even is the Lord's Passover, right? So we're going to be keeping that Passover. And that also what is the beginning of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? So from that night on, for the next 7 nights, there's no leaven should be found in your houses, in your habitation. And the purpose of this is what? To purge out the sin, purge out the wickedness that's still dwelling within our members, okay? We're always going to have sin in our members. I want you to understand that. No one is without sin. Come? All right. Anybody say they without sin? Okay, just check it. So your hand, Moshe. Oh, okay. What happened? What you say, Moshe? Oh. Oh no. Let's stay where we at. I don't want to go too far into it. It's gonna push me into another topic, and then me breaking that down. Let's stay right here. Where are you at?
Verse 8. Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice.
It said, therefore, let us keep the feast. What feast? The feast of unleavened bread. Just like it mentioned right in Exodus. Let's keep the feast, not with the leaven of what?
of malice,
which is hatred towards your brother, your sister, read on,
and wickedness,
all manner of sin, read,
but with the unleavened bread,
right,
of sincerity.
Of what?
Of sincerity.
What is sincerity? Being what? When you sincere, you're being what? Being honest, right? You're being true. So the sincerity of what?
And truth. Verse 9. I wrote unto you in an epistle not to company with
fornication. Something else. What about that? So let's go back. So understand that the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the 7 days without leaven, is a process, okay, that you got to go through. Yes, you physically taking the leaven out of your house, right? Every bread that has yeast, you want to remove it from your house, right? Every item that has the self-rising flour, things of that sort, you want to remove that from your house for those 7 days. You want to do it before the 7 days and keep it out your house for the 7 days, okay? So that it's a physical action that brings forth a spiritual understanding, which is that what? I got to get the sin out of my life. You know what I mean? And I'm purging the sin out of my life. Okay? Let's read on.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 18. Mm-hmm. The feast of unleavened bread shalt thou eat. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee, in the time of the month Abib. For in the month Abib thou camest out from Egypt.
Right, so the month Abib. Abib is the first month of the year. So the next new moon is the new year. Everybody understand that? Right. The next new moon is when? Who remembers? It's kind of easy if you know when the Passover is. You just do the math. But anyway, when is it? The 17th. Okay, is a new moon. The 17th is the new moon of March. Okay,
2 years.
Which is New Year. All right, which is the New Year. So let us make sure we are, celebrating that new moon, glorious as it is. You know what I mean? Scriptures say, observe the month of Abib. So we observe that month. We give that month extra observation because why? It's the beginning of the year. Okay, so that's scripture. Observe the month of Abib. All right, read.
Verse 19. All that openeth the matrix is mine, and every firstling among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male, but the firstling of a donkey thou shalt redeem with a lamb. And if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck. All the firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem, and none shall appear before me empty.
Right, so what? Let's look at this. Because he's looking at how he's going from, after telling us the first month, a month of Abib, then he says, all that openeth the matrix is mine, right? And every firstling, okay, so he's going into the first. Everything that's the first belongs to Yahweh, right? So the things that can be given to Yahweh, you give it to him. But if it can't be given to him, then you redeem it with something that can be given to him. Everybody understand that? Like you can't bring a donkey to the altar. You try to pull a donkey into the altar. Whoa, you can't bring no donkey up in here. That's not a clean beast. A beast that can be brought to the altar. So what you got to do? You got to go get a lamb in his stead and say, listen, I can't bring a donkey to you, but I got this lamb and I'll bring that to you. Okay? So there's certain things we give on to the Most High, certain things we cannot. But we redeem the things that we cannot. During the first. What is the first? Talking about the first of the year. It's talking about, it's bringing up the first month of the year. And all that transpires in that first month of the year. All right, so New Year's is coming. It's right around the corner. Right, today is March what? 3rd. So in 14 days is the New Year. So preparing yourself for redeeming things to the Most High Yah, and bless them on that day, on that new moon. Let them know that this is the beginning of the year that Thou has given unto us. Right, that we're gonna start the year out with blessing our holy name and redeeming ourselves unto you. And as you have you have children, or you have all these children, your first has to be redeemed. You give the Most High something for that child. You're not going to give me a child. You're not going to kill your child, but you're going to give the Most High something for that. Okay. So now we don't have the temple, so we don't do blood sacrifices, right? But we have to give, show the Most High we recognize His laws, statutes, commandments. So we redeem things onto Him, all right? So presenting your body is one way, as a living sacrifice, right? So you taking part and of the production of the Passover and things of that sort. That's all a part of the Passover, right? Being a part of the production of the Passover, preparing for it. All right? The lamb needs to be slaughtered. They need to be, and everything has to happen to bring forth the Passover. Or it could just be another day. For a lot of our people, the Passover was going to come and go, and it was just another day. Because they don't worship the power of Yahweh. But those that do, we got to make sure that we're playing a part in the whole production of the Passover. Everybody understand that? All right, so that we show the Most High that we're reverencing His law, statutes, and commandments. Read on.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 21. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day thou shalt rest. In earing time and in harvest thou shalt rest.
Right, even if it was time to go plant or it was time to pluck up that which was planted, you still got to rest on the Sabbath. You don't care that, oh man, but this is harvest time. There's a lot for me to do. You don't care what you think you have to do. He said, you still got to rest. But this is very important. Yeah, I understand, but you got to rest. Okay, read.
Verse 22. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
Right.
Thrice in the year shall all your men children appear before the Most High Power, the power of Israel.
So why did it say men children instead of female children? Because what? Right, because our daughters can be unclean. And when you know what it means to be unclean? It means that when a woman is on her cycle, she is unclean. Okay. During her cycle, she cannot present herself to the Most High Yah. That is against the commandments of the Most High. When you're in a state of being unclean, you cannot be presented. So he can't put the law and say thrice a year on the woman, because they're like, well, I'm unclean then. Right? So that if you're unclean, then you are excused from that holy convocation. Everybody understand that? All right. You got the law on that?
The book of Leviticus, chapter 15 and verse 19. And if a woman have an issue,
right,
and her issue is her flesh be blood,
right? So it's talking about a woman having her cycle, right? We know
she shall be put apart 7 days.
She shall be what?
Put apart 7 days.
She put apart 7 days. So then what? You're unclean for those 7 days. Read on.
And whosoever touches her shall be unclean.
And if you come in contact with other people, those people are unclean because you're unclean. Read on.
Shall be unclean until the even.
This is why he couldn't have the woman in the service during the high holy day, because they'll themselves be unclean, and then they interacting with everybody else. Everybody else is unclean, right? So that's why he said, listen, they be set apart for those 7 days. Read on.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 15, verse 20. And everything that lies upon in her separation shall be unclean.
Right.
Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
The chair is unclean, we know.
And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Read on.
Verse 22. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even.
Right, so it's our job to shamar Shabbat. What does it mean? To protect. Shamar means to protect. Shamar Shabbat means protect the sanctity of the gathering of the children of Israel on the Shabbat day, the new moon, the high holy days. So what? We cannot have uncleanliness in the congregation. Everybody understand that? All right. Come on. So this is the law, statute, commandments of the Heavenly Father. All right, go ahead.
When it says touch, it means literally like put your hand on touch.
Yeah, it means touch it, like physically touch it.
So the one, like, my next thing is, so if a woman touches the man, and the man becomes unclean.
Right. Only during the time of her separation.
Only during that time.
Yeah, only during the time of her separation. And he's only unclean until the even. He's not unclean for the 7 days. No. She's unclean for the 7 days because she has a running issue, right? Even if a man, when you go to the laws of the running issue, even a man, a running issue, he's unclean for those days, right? But dealing with a woman right now in her time of separation, she's unclean with the running issue for 7 days. If you touch her, you're unclean to that evening.
And the furniture also.
Right. To that evening. Okay? All right. So not everybody is 7 days. All right? But just to that evening, you wash yourself with water and you're clean. Why is it to the evening? What happens at the evening? That's right. Another day starts, right? Every time the sun goes down, one day ends, another day begins. So it's a new day. So the evening represents a new day. So you're unclean for the rest of that day. Everybody clear? All right, hallelujah.
The book of Exodus, chapter.
Hold on, we got Arya. He always has good questions. If the blood touch you, yes. Come. He didn't read that far down, but it would go to that.
Verse 24.
Right.
And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him,
right,
he shall be unclean 7 days.
Right. So her flowers be upon you, right? Right. The flower is the anatomy of the woman, right? From the go to specifically to what it is, right? It would be upon you somehow, right? Let's say how it became upon you, and she becomes unclean, and you too are unclean for 7 days. Okay? All right. Is that clear? As clear as it's going to be on the Shabbat, right? All right. That's it. All right. So I said he always has good questions. You know, that's good edification. We need to bring that up.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 24. For I will cast out the nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders, neither shall any man desire thy land.
Right. Nobody got to desire our land. It's an abomination today that what? You got Ishmael, Esau, Elam, who else is over there? All fighting for our land. Israel, the real owners of the land are the only ones not really concerned about the land. All these other nations fighting over the land. They saying Donald Trump talking about Jerusalem is the capital, all kind of madness is going on over there. They all fighting over stolen land. That land don't belong to none one of them. And the Moses said it's an abomination for any of these nations to lay claim on our land. That's an abomination. He's not with them. He's going to destroy them and rid them out of that land. Everybody understand that? They don't have no right to that land. Right? We fell away and riches came to the world. We understand that happened. Right? So they got their hand on our land. But it's just for a time. The Moses said he's going to put us back in our land. Right? He's going to put us back in our land. And from that point on, we'll forever be in our land. Read.
Neither shall any man desire thy land.
Right.
When thou shalt go up to appear before the Most High thy power, thrice in the year.
Right.
Verse 25. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left unto the morning. Verse 26. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Most High thy power. Thou shalt not seize a kid in his mother's milk.
What does that mean? Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. What does that mean? Huh? Yeah, but why? What does that mean? A kid in his mother's milk. What does that mean? A young animal, right? That's still a calf, still a baby. All right? Meaning what? You ain't supposed to cook the baby. Let it grow up. When it reaches a full age, a full size, then you can kill and eat, right? But you eat it too young, you're not allowing it to what? Reach its full potential. All right? So that's not the Most High. So when it says thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk, it's talking about a young calf that's still nursing, right? From his mother. And that goes for any of the animals that's still in the nursing stages. You're supposed to let it grow. All right? Con? Read.
Verse 27. The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 27. And the Most High said unto Moses, write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel.
Right.
Verse 28. And he was there with the Most High 40 days and 40 nights.
Right?
And he did neither eat bread nor drink water.
Come on.
And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments.
Right.
Verse 29. And it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses wished not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. Verse 30. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
Right. So the skin of his face was shown. Right? Meaning that it was illuminated, and it was clear. And he looked at it, he looked different. He said, what's going on with Moses coming down from being what? In front of the almighty power, Yahweh. All right, read on.
Verse 31. And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him, and Moses talked with them. And afterward, all the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all the word, all that the Most High had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Verse 33. And till Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face.
Right.
Verse 34. But when Moses went in before the Most High to speak with him, he took the veil off until he came out. And he came out and spake unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone.
Right.
And Moses put the veil upon his face again.
Right. So all his face was completely clean. Give me a shown out of the Bible dictionary. Let me show you something. S-H-O-N. So you start looking real different. Let me see what it says. It's not showing me. All right, so like, give me 2 Corinthians. Then let's get out of precept upon precept. Let's see what that word "shown" means. How they give understanding to that word "shown." What does it really mean? You can look in the regular dictionary also. Somebody do it. Google search that word "shown." Let me see what you get. Page 11. Anybody got it?
Yeah.
What does it say?
The past participle shine. Shown is sometimes being shown.
Say it again.
To beam, radiate, gleam, glow, lit, glimmer, sparkle. To give out a bright light.
To give out a bright light, right? Radiant. His face was gleaming, right?
Or bright with expression. Particular emotion. Okay, so that's a past and past participle.
It's a past of shine.
Yeah.
All right. No, I forget. Let's leave it there. Yeah. All right. So his face was shining or gleaming, right? The skin of his face. Okay. So he had to keep a veil over his face so they would stop staring at him, like looking at him crazy, thinking that something was wrong with Moses, but because he was in the presence of the Most High. But I was going into a scripture that showed that his skin was, because our skin on a man's face is covered with what? Hair. So his skin, his whole face was what? It was shown, it was glowing, it was, you wouldn't even see the skin. He had to wait for his hair to grow back from being in front. Right. It was clean, it was shining. And then he had to wait for his hair to grow back. But we're going to it. Gotta get all the verses on that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34 and verse 35. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone.
Right.
And Moses put the veil upon his face again, until he went in to speak with him.
Mm-hmm. Right. So now that ends the portion for this Shabbat day. Give the Most High hand. Hallelujah. All praise be to power, amen, to Jacob for his mercy truly endures forever. All right, we do these portions. Now, this is the second to last portion of Exodus. That means next week is the last portion. And after that is the what? Test time. That's right. So you're going to get your Exodus test. So make sure that you have been reviewing and reading. Like I said, no trick questions. It's going to be straight up, but, we want to see a good turnout, you see good marks. All right. Now, Genesis was so-so. You know what I mean? Some of y'all did great. Some of y'all, we already know what happened. All right, so let's let Exodus be a good turnout. I want to see everybody at least in the 90s on these tests. Correct? All right, so read throughout the week and keep yourself abreast with all that you read over the book of Exodus. All right, announcements. We already went over the Passover. The water for everybody for participating in the Purim and the Nicanor. It was a glorious Nicanor and Purim probably one of the most glorious in time class, right? Yeah, it was a beautiful Nicanor. It was a beautiful Purim. Everybody came out. It was good. The food was like nonstop. I'm still in recovery mode from eating, right? But continue to glorify the Most High's high holy days. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? Right? That's how you got to look at it. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? Right? So I got to do it. Each and every one of us has to do it. And that's how it's going to happen. All right? So we got to keep glorifying these high holy days for ourselves and for our children so that they look forward to them yearly, monthly, weekly.
Yeah, this reminder everyone that said they was taking part in the grab bag, make sure that that the person that you picked that they get their gift. You may have taken a gift and they give you a gift. So make sure that the exchange is taking place.
Right.
Keep the spirit going.
Right. Yeah. And if you haven't, just to add on to that, if it's really very few. I think it's about 2, but if you have it, then let the person know that you had their name. So the mystery has been, and that you're going to deal with them when you're going to deal with them. So at least that communication is there. All right. So we don't want to be failing to communicate. All right. That's Torah. That's scripture. Fail not to communicate. So we got to communicate. All right.
Also, the Passover is near. If you have not paid the dues yet, also the garments, it's got to come in. ASAP, I think like maybe 2 other people need to get measured. Now received money for garments, not all of the money that's coming yet, so we need that in. All the material, everything has been ordered. So let's get it done so we can have a glorious Passover. So keep that in mind. We need the resources before so we can, get the lamb, pay for the place, the wine, all that stuff. It's not going to do really that good, when you bring it a day up, because it's, prevents us from preparing in a proper way.
Right.
So let's make sure we get the money in, as soon as possible. Okay.
All right, just to add on to that, the list of the measurement list, I'll need that list so I can add who paid on that list, as another column. So, because I don't have a column, I don't have a list of everybody that measured or took part of it. So, I'm going to need that. Any other announcements you got going on? We'll keep that going on. All right, with water for everyone coming out, that's also, it's always a blessing to worship the Most High, the true worshipers of the Heavenly Father, the real Jews. It's good to be amongst the real Jews. I'll tell you that right now. All right, we're going to continue. Like I said, new moon is the 17th. There's nothing else pending other than that. We do a new moon, preparation. Probably do it next week, Saturday. We do a new moon preparation. I personally will be out of town next week, so you gotta hold it down without me. I know, don't everybody be so sad. Don't worry, I'll be back. It's just 1 week. I'll be back. So next Shabbat I won't be here. I'll be out of the country. But you still got to go through that portion. The test's still coming. All right, so continue to study. What else we got going on? Hopefully nothing else.
Well, this was going in first anointment.
Oh, she hasn't been anointed yet? Okay. All right, so we're going to anoint his good daughter. You want to do it after the prayer?
You want to do it after?
Yeah, do it after the prayer. Do the prayer. All right. The water for everybody came out. The water for Judah coming and visiting us and his family. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Very, 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 very special people when it comes to the light of Zion. Help us build, help us grow, help us get to where we're at today. So definitely wonderful coming out and visit you all. At the Most High has been gracious to you all, I can see, right? And giving unto you abundantly, as I can see. So all praises be to the Most High. Yeah. So we're gonna imagine we'll put you on your roster, stand and face Jerusalem. Hallelujah. 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 Who's the power? Who's the power? By Hashem. By Hashem. Kuras. Holy, holy, holy is the name of Anoah. Yahweh. Holy, holy, holy is the name of Mashiach. Yahushai. Come Abanawa Yahweh. Come Abanawa Yahweh. Come Mashiach Yahushai. Come Mashiach Yahushai. Come Yeshurala. Come Yeshurala. Barakatha Yahweh. Hashem. Mashiach. Yahushai. Yahweh. Within Noah. Shabbat. Shalom. Kushah. Shemai. Zapalayim. Barak. Barapah. Wakazak. Wamakan. Asma'ah. Akim. Wa. Akwakim. Wamkushah. Yehovah. Hashem. Mashiach. Yahushai. Yechak. Shaitan. Yechak. Shaitan. Yechak. Kol. Rai. Yechayim. Yechak. Kol. Rai. Yechayim. Wamkushah. All praises be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the power of Israel. We thank Yahweh for giving us the Shabbat day. We ask the Most High to bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. We also ask Yahweh to rid Israel of all evil spirits. Rid us of that wicked one, Satan, from amongst our members. Remember the covenant that was made with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, that thou art to be our power, and we are to be thy people. And continue to bless us and remember us in these times. And remember us in all the fleeting moments throughout the week that the Most High has blessed us. And continue to walk with us, O Yahweh, that we might be blessed in these last days. For we know we live in perilous times. We live in times where Satan knows he has but a short time. So he's going to come down with great wrath. Protect thy children under the power of thy wings. Protect us and keep us close unto thy name. Continue to walk with us, O Yahweh. Baba Kushah Yahweh, remember the little sanctuaries that was throughout the four corners of the earth. And bless all these little sanctuaries they bring Yahweh again to thee, that they do thy service and bring thy children and wake thy children up in these last days. All this we ask in the name of thy son, O Yahweh, Hamashiach Yahushua, who shall reign and rule forever. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Hamashiach Yahushua, the one of them Yah, Amen. The Most High, hallelujah. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected. In the mouth of babes, Yahweh perfected praise. Hallelujah, hallelujah. In the mouth of babes, in the mouth of babes. We're going to set up your anointing prayer.
Yeah. Shema. Ya Baraka, Yahweh, Waya Shemaka, Yahweh, Waya Kankan, Waya Shem, Laka Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Shemaya, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Kazak, Shemaya, Yahweh Hashem, Judah, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Rapha, Yahshua. La
I was like, damn.